Dude, God, years.
My name is Connor Worley, and this is speech for Com 181, and I'll be doing a tribute speech about Michael Jordan. And I figured it was appropriate this week. LeBron James and NBA Finals are going on. It's kind of dominating the sports headlines, but I'm going to go and start out saying, growing up, most of my friends in the 90s idolized superheroes like Batman or Spider-Man. Michael Jordan was my superhero growing up. I remember going to preschool, I had a Chicago Bulls backpack. I remember when I was about 4 years old, I watched Space Jam, it was my favorite movie. And Michael Jordan was about probably the first person in my life outside my family that influenced me in any sort of way. And he's a superhero to me because I believe he's the greatest basketball player of all time, and he turned the sport into a global sport. And some background information about him: he was born in Brooklyn, February 1963, but he grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina. And that's where he played high school basketball, and he went on to play at the University of North Carolina after being high school All-American, McDonald's All-American. And that's where he hit the game-winning shot in the national championship game his freshman year in North Carolina. And that eventually led to him being drafted 3rd overall in the 1984 NBA draft. And he went on to have arguably the greatest career ever seen in the NBA. And there's always going to be a debate about who the best player is. But on the NBA.com, the official website for the NBA, on Michael Jordan's biography, it lists that by acclamation, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. So even NBA.com recognizes that. And just some stats to back it up: he won 6 NBA Finals, was 6-time NBA Finals MVP. He won 5 MVPs in the regular season. He is a 14-time All-Star and led the league in scoring 10 times. He also won 2 gold medals for Team USA, and he retired with the highest point per game average in history with 30.1 points per game. In addition to some of those stats, his style of play is what really made him famous up to that point before he joined the NBA. The NBA was more of a finesse sport. It was hook shots, passing, stuff like that. But he came in with nearly a 50-inch vertical leap, and he was just dunking all over people. And this aggressive style of play is what also led to him being very popular. And it kind of ties in that the only thing he might be better at than basketball is being a businessman. He's the first athlete in history to become a billionaire. Tiger Woods is now a billionaire, and LeBron James is well on his way, but he was the first. And this directly ties into turning basketball into a global sport. Air Jordans, his brand Air Jordan shoes, 3 out of 4 shoes for basketball sold in America are Jordan brand shoes. The total shoe market, Jordan brand shoes make up 10.8% of the entire US market for shoes. It's the 2nd highest branded shoes sold. And it's not just in the US. His brand was the first in the NBA to cross-translate overseas into other countries. For the first time in history, kids were throwing away their soccer cleats and buying Jordans. And in countries like Germany, Italy, and China, you really started to see an increase in basketball players coming from each country. And it's no coincidence that in the early 90s, when he was still playing, on average in the NBA draft, only about 3 to 4 players were international players. By the time he retired in 2003, 21 were international players drafted. In 2004, 20 were international players. And it's no coincidence as well that those players drafted those years were about 10 years old in Michael Jordan's prime. So they grew up watching him, and they grew up and decided to play basketball instead of other sports. And this is personally why I think he's the greatest of all time. He gave kids across the world a chance to have a taste of basketball instead of just soccer or rugby or whatever other sport they were playing in other countries. He went into basketball playing an American sport, and he left it a global sport. And it was all because of him. And you could talk so much about his career and other accolades he had, but really he was just the most polarizing athlete the world has ever seen. To end this, he will always be a hero to me, someone I'll always look up to. And whether you love him or hate him, think he's the best or not, it's impossible to not at least admire what he's done for basketball and sports in general from basketball crazy state like Kentucky. Thank you.
All right.